A bumpy game one against the Rockets last night. Houston definitely had a chance to steal the game, but didn't help their cause by losing it on the refs down the stretch after a series of what they thought were missed fouls on James Harden's three-pointers. After the game, Harden was still pleading his case.
I just want a fair chance, man. Call the game how it's supposed to be called, and that's it. And I'll live with the results. But when you, especially we all know what happened, a few years back with Kawhi, like that can change the entire series. Just call the game how it's supposed to be called, and we'll live with the results. And it's plain and simple.
I've been fouled by James on a James three-pointer before. I ain't trying to hear that. Nah, I ain't going with that one. I'm straight. It is what it is. I think we can all sit here and complain about calls after every game. That's just the nature of the game we play. Refereeing is an inexact science, so it is what it is. Nah, I'm going to contest a shot. I contest a shot. When you land 3 feet ahead of where you shoot the ball from, that ain't really my issue.
All right, the NBA released its 2-minute report today, and they say there were 3 incorrect calls in the final 2 minutes, all against the Rockets. But they did rule James Harden's three-pointer at the end of the game was correctly called as not being a foul. All right, the question here is, what was worse, the officiating or how the Rockets handled the officiating?
The officiating, and if they could continue to tweet, let's talk about the other minutes, especially the first half, the 3 egregious non-calls. I agree with exactly what they said. There were 3 incorrect calls. The one at the end, James Harden and Draymond, which Draymond was talking about, I get it. But this just feels like a classic case of when the officials, and they go over their reviews of the games and what to look for, they also say what not to fall sucker for. And I think they came out in that first half and they were like, we're not getting baited into this 3-point fouling situation. And they actually didn't make the correct call. So James Harden, who had 95 three-pointers this year, had fouls committed against him, most in the NBA. 5 in the series just last time against the Utah Jazz. And then they come out and just swallow the whistle. I'm with James Harden and his gripes. The officials got it wrong. The NBA even took notice.
It just was Bleacher's Report came out about there was 81 calls missed last year's Western Conference Finals. 81 of them missed calls against the Rockets. Now, me being Marcellus, us being professionals, you a game or 2 away from going to finals. And sometimes you go to the finals like LeBron James, 8 straight, whatever it is, whoever, Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry. Sometimes you don't even make it. So when it's situations like this where one call can dictate a series, a situation, how you play next, what do? I feel bad for James because you can't get back last year, especially when Chris get hurt. Then now I feel bad.
You think the officiating was worse than how they handled it?
It's not saying it was, yes, it was worse, but this is the thing. If you watch back at the game, there was 8 times that I saw James get fouled where a guy underneath his feet. Now, the last one with Draymond Green, because he kicked his legs, Jason, if you go shoot a jump shot and I go straight up and down as a defender, not worried about it. If we go shoot a jump shot and I'm always coming towards the bottom of your feet, it's very scary. That's a scary thing. So now my concentration to shoot the ball is totally different now. I'm worried about how I land. So, yeah, that was a little exaggerated by James with Draymond, but still Draymond goes into James. Draymond doesn't go up and down. Draymond goes into James, okay? So for James to feel the way, it's reasonable. Chris, it's reasonable.
I don't like the way they handled it because anything they do after the game, I got no problem with. Stand up on that press conference and
that's what I just said.
They got 3 technical fouls in a 4-point game.
Because they understand how important
in a 4-point game,
I know.
They gave away 3 points.
Right.
I don't like the way they handled it. Control what you can control. You can't control the official.
Maybe it's something. You never been where it's like it was referees or a team you played and you were that close again and you see the same thing about to happen again.
Yeah.
So emotional, we're human beings. Emotionally, things happen where you're like, you know what? You're not going to steal this from us again. But you get angry.
Performers in any endeavor control their emotions. When Michael Jackson or whoever was performing on stage, trust me, all sorts of things went wrong. But when I'm a customer, I don't care that the audio is off. I don't care that they didn't the bass player didn't hit the right note. I want to see a great performance. Control what you can control. All kinds of bad things happen to Michael Jordan, to Tom Brady, to LeBron, to the great performers. They control what they can control.
I don't want that
during
to keep
the
happening.
contest.
I don't want that to keep. 81 missed calls. 81 the last year. They could have been in the finals.
This isn't the Saints.
But what's worse is, as one missed call, two missed calls,
Exactly.
then you talk to the officials, they're like, yeah, we're missing these calls.
you
Then
come
we
back
missed
at
the
halftime.
next call. You sitting there like, wait a minute.
You come back
and
at halftime?
D'Antoni said that after the game. He said, I talked to him at halftime, and they said that they were missing calls. And then they came out in the second half, they're missing calls again. And NBA even comes out and said they're missing calls.
It's a butterfly effect.
Come on now.
Again, and so Mike D'Antoni, to me, or Daryl Morey, the general manager of the Houston Rockets, needs to sit his team down and explain to them what's going on. Again, basketball, the NBA is no different than the NFL. It's a television show. And the television show the NBA ran during the regular season wasn't very exciting to the viewers. Ratings are down, and this Houston style of play, of baiting everybody into fouling them and blah, blah, it's bad television. And so, as the executives running that television show, I'm sure Adam Silver, as the showrunner for the NBA TV show, told the referees, hey, man, this is a playoff. We gotta have an exciting brand of TV that doesn't run off our viewers. And someone needs to explain that to Houston. The calls you were getting in the regular season, that bad TV show that won us a lot of games, but it's bad TV. They're not going to allow this because ESPN has paid us $2 billion and ESPN and ABC have paid us all this money. TNT's paid us all this money. We got to put on a better TV show. So adjust.
Now, look, that's to my first point of they have that pregame meeting, points of emphasis, things to not get caught up and suckered into. Here's the thing. And it's funny, there's a grain of truth in every joke. And you talking about how the Rockets handled it. Let's see how Steve Kerr is handling this situation right now, kind of poking the bear. Be careful, because you can unswallow those whistles in game 2. Steve Kerr comes out there and gives his guys basically a license. Hey, we getting away with it. And then he comes out, this is how they act in their flame. Like, okay, I'm fine with that. But you know, that showrunner, Adam Silver, could be like, man, we got to write tweets talking about we need to correct the calls and things were wrong in the last 2 minutes and further. Be careful, Steve Kerr, because you're giving your guys a license, because they all were violators. They just didn't get caught and called.
That's all. That's all it was. Like, listen, I agree when you speak about the ESPN and the money and Adam Silver, blah blah blah. It could be conspiracy, it could be true. I don't know.
That's not a conspiracy. Those are just facts.
No, I'm saying we don't. Listen,
go ahead.
That's not a fact. It's something that.
It is a TV show.
Well, it's not a TV show.
It is a damn TV show. It's beyond a TV show. They sell us on playoffs and we get more money and they get way more.
I'm asking you this.
Super Bowls and
when you watch those 8 times Klay Thompson or Draymond Green contested or Sean Livingston contested, were they fouls? I'm asking you that. That's it.
Yes.
Well,
they were fouls.
Regular season fouls.
No, I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you in this first season, were they fouls?
You know they change up the refereeing.
I understand that, but if you give a dog table food all day long for 82 games, you can't tell me he can't have table food now when I come in with some real good food. No, you can't do that. That's not what you do.
James Harden's not a dog. He is able to be trained to play a different way very easily.
Well, if he's not a dog, dogs get trained.
Oh, it's going to happen in game 2.
Athletes get trained too.
No, listen.
Conditioning.
James Harden got fouled.
Every time.
Y'all said he got fouled.
Yeah.
So if he got fouled in the postseason, so I'm asking you, I just asked you that.
What?
Out of 8 times in
the regular season, those were fouls.
I'm asking you about this first postseason game you just watched.
The officiating was bothersome to me, but the way they handled it was far worse. You have to continue to keep your focus.
But I just explained
that. It was a very close game.
But I explained that to you.
They got these technical fouls and gave away
It's not easy to get to the finals, and I explained that to you. Sometimes, yes, the emotions may, got ahead of them, but it's not easy to get to the finals, and Chris Paul knows that.
Did I argue that it was easy?
No, but what I'm saying is you tell me keep your emotions. I may never get here again. So I got my energy, my emotions. What do you want me to control? You want me to be as patient as possible?
He's saying context matters, so you got to know the context. This is playoff. It's going to slow down, and we're not calling everything.
But my point is...
And you learn that between games sometimes, not necessarily in the game.
81 times last year in the Western Conference Finals, they got it wrong. This year, in the first half, there was 4 calls they said was wrong. You come back and you tell D'Antoni that was our fault, and you still don't do that. I'm upset.
That's what D'Antoni said happened.
No referees do that. That's what they do. They come in halftime. Cuttino, we missed it. Steve, we missed it. We're sorry about that. We're going to look out for you next time.
Next game.
What are you going to do? Next game.
That
game is gone.
You've never been misled, lied to,
all day long.
led astray, bamboozled,
all day.
hoodwinked.
Hoodwinked.
All right, coming up, Kyler Murray went #1 as expected, but there was still plenty of drama at the draft. We get into that and the best and worst of social media